Alrighty, howdy folks, Nick Alter here. It is day 4 of our existential course and slight wardrobe change on my part, but today we're talking about solution statements and what those look like, or what a solution statement looks like for your offering, for your business. And just as a recap real quick, yesterday we talked about key deliverables. Day before that, we talked about uniquely betters. Day before that, we talked about our foundational questions that we ask. That is the what, the who, and the why, right? And so what happens next, once we have established these are truly our key deliverables, this is what we're, of our offering, and these are the outcomes that we're expecting from our offering, we get into this idea of what is our solution statement. How do we condense, crystallize the essentially the primary outcome of our offering, okay? And so just so we're clear, this is not a tagline. We're not looking at a solution statement as being something that's necessarily pithy. Now, will we eventually get it to that? Maybe. But that's not our priority at this stage of our growth, our development, right? Like, we're not Nike, we're not Coke, we're not McDonald's, anything along those lines. We're not Chick-fil-A, we're not, go down the list of all these big, major, huge companies, and anybody that says that we're the Uber of, and you're like, first of all, you're never going to be the Uber of. You're going to be you of whatever that is, right? And first and foremost. But the thing that I want to be clear about is that, when we think about this, a lot of these pithy taglines that people come up with, and they're like, oh yeah, my tagline is this. And you're like, yeah, but that doesn't really communicate what you're solving. What is essentially what it is what value you're providing. If we think about it, right? And so, I think about the idea of Nike's just do it, and that works for them today, for their community today, for the size that they are today and what they've established, and they have a lot of assumed identity equity. If it might be it's just a phrase I coined right now, but maybe assumed identity equity that they've already established that allows for them to be that esoteric in a way, I guess, with their tagline. But that's not really what we're about. What we're about is that we need to understand from a solution statement standpoint. Here is what we are. This is what the offering is really for, right? And the idea is, the trick is that I should understand clearly what problem you're solving in context the solution that you're providing. I don't really care about a problem statement. As a matter of fact, with my clients and with my students that I coach and I teach, I always tell them, look, your problem statement, I don't want to hear it until I understand and I've heard your solution statement, right? Because frankly, I should be able to glean, I should be able to understand, I should be able to, in context, I should be able to clearly articulate, oh, that's the problem that you're solving in context. Now, here's the deal. Taglines are great. Love them. They can be fantastic for when we're going to market and we're capturing people's attention, for sure. But again, the rule is that I don't want a tagline if it doesn't help facilitate, doesn't drag them back to, oh, that's what they do, and that's really valuable to me. And so when we think about examples of solution statements that that eventually become taglines, or that they have a really strong tagline tied to them, it's really about looking at, here is my favorite's the Geico model. I love Geico's, how they built their entire organization, and as far as the market is concerned, is, they did this whole 15 minutes or less could save you 15% or more on car insurance, right? And what's interesting about that is that nothing about that in of itself is actually really pithy, and meaning that it's not something that's super clever and catchy. It's just clear. right? And frankly, it is their solution statement. They just have made it super refined, it's super concise, and it says everything that we want it to say in terms of, and everything that I need to hear in order for me to fully grasp, to reach my arms around. This is what they are about, right? And this is what they're bringing to the table. They're not even really selling in their go-to-market. They're not actually really they're not really selling insurance. What they're selling is a phone call that could save you 15% or more on car insurance. That's what they're selling. That's what they're bringing to market. Okay. And so when we think about, and then from there, they then sell insurance. It's kind of like how Buc-ee's, what Buc-ee's really sells is their bathrooms, right? Their super clean bathrooms is what they really, that's their primary focus of what gets people in the door. And then it just so happens that they have all this stuff that people then tend to buy. Everything from cheap gas, cheap ice, all the way over to, their food items, blah, 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 So we think about it from that standpoint. Let's go back to, what do we mean by a solution statement? And again, like we say, it's okay that internally when we're saying, okay, so what problem are we solving, or problems are we solving? Or rather I should say is just that, to turn that around, our deliverables, the key deliverables we had you come up with yesterday, what problems are they solving, right? For whoever your target customer, your target audience is. And then in how do these deliverables, think about, how do we make these deliverables, your customer's life better with these deliverables, right? And then the other thing is that it's how would your customer measure the value you're delivering, right? And that's actually getting into something that ties to what we're going to build on once you graduate from existential into the discovery, because right now you're really in what we call a hypothesis phase, right? And so we're saying, like, we have this idea, we have this thing that we really were trying to bring to market, but I want this to, I don't know, I should say it this way. I don't know that this is truly what this audience wants. I am guessing, right? Because you really are guessing. You have not taken, you don't have any data really, other than maybe what you have gone and researched on the internet, what you've maybe looked at, other business trends and things like that. If you follow the trends newsletter that HubSpot now owns, which is amazing, by the way. At least it was. I don't know if it still is. I haven't looked at it in a couple of months. But anyways, so the idea is that I want to figure out exactly, and again, I love this whole Geico model concept, right? Around, it's like, break it down. It's just you're saying, hey, look, we're asking you to spend 15 minutes or less with us. And basically we're getting into what we're promising that we'll deliver is 15% or more on car insurance. Now, there's an interesting thing in what they say in that solution statement is they say the word could. They don't say that they're not promising exactly that they will, but they're saying that could save you 15% or more in car insurance. But their deliverables and the number of times that they have done this, the amount of success that they've had in doing that has been high enough that they're willing to hang their hat on that peg, that hook, and say, yep, this is what we're promising you. And even though we're only telling you could, but the thing is that they have enough validation to get away with that, right? Or to not get away with it, but to want that to be their focus, and for them to be able to celebrate that focus. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, celebrate. So when we think about it so what do we want to write out? We're trying to, and again, I'm not looking for this initially to be that concise. What I would start with is that I actually heard, what was his name? Somebody super successful, and I'm blanking, his name's escaping me right this second. But, it's funny. It's just that he has, his solution statement is, make a lot of other people a lot of money, make a lot of money himself, have a lot of fun doing it, right? And I'm butchering what it is. His is even more concise and more clever than that even. But what I love about it is he's saying, he's what he started with was he had 3 full page, 11-point font, single space pages, one page for each of those statements. And until he had a business partner that came back to him and said, hey, what are you trying to say with this page? What are you trying to say with this page? What are you trying to say with this page? And this thing got blurry on me. Stop it. And so what's great about that is that he came back and said, well, I'm trying to say, well, I want to make a lot of money. Well, I want to make a lot of people a lot of money. And I want to have a lot of fun doing it. And that's what he said for each of those, because fine, that's what we're about. That's what we're doing. That's all that matters, right? But he didn't start there. He started with how to articulate that, right? And that's the whole point here, guys. So we're looking to articulate what makes sense to people, what's attractive to them. And so we want to think about is, okay, I might need to write out several paragraphs. I mean, I might even need to write out like an article to better explain what it is that we're here to do. Going back to the Square Cow example that we have been working with the last couple of days, and we eventually came up with their solution statement. Started as this manifesto that we still have that manifesto. We said basically it's like, hey, look, moving is very stressful. It's one of the most stressful things you'll ever do in your life. It's ranked higher than almost anything but divorce. Even death ranks lower than it. I mean, there's plenty of things that we put into this document to explain and articulate what it was that we were really trying to accomplish, what problem we were really trying to solve, and saying, hey, look, we want to be a manners company that solves this problem, and for people to make them feel loved. And that became the value, right? This is that the metric that we were tracking, that we wanted to track above all else, was, do you feel loved, right? And so we took that, and what we eventually came up with, that we took that whole manifesto, this long document, and eventually what we pared it down to was this idea of we are movers with manners. So to give you an example of how you can take a solution statement, condense it, and actually turn it into a tagline that you can take to market. I mean, we built an 8-figure company off the backbone of those 3 words, right? It's just movers with manners. That's it. But I understand that passes our sniff test. I understand what problem we're solving in context of the solution that we're providing, okay? And so when I say movers with manners, like, I know what problem we're solving. So anyways, I want you to take all of that and ruminate on this. Take everything you've done so far from the last 3 days and again, start writing out what I would consider to be your solution statement, this manifesto. And again, don't worry about being super concise right now. I want a first draft from you that says, okay, here's what we're really trying to accomplish. And then we'll start refining. And if we can get it down to a single sentence, fantastic. That is, here's the thing. You didn't lose if you can only get it to 2 or 3 sentences right now. Because frankly, what'll probably wind up happening and likely happen is you're like, no, this is as condensed. This is as close as I can get it. And which is totally fine. And then what we say is that from there, we're going to take that solution statement, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 sentences. Anything more than 3 sentences, it probably does need some work to refine it down. But anything along those lines, and then what we can do is that we would then take that into our next stage of development, next stage of growth, which is the discovery stage. So, all right, guys, that's day 4. Excited for you guys to get into this, dig in, and we'll circle back and we'll close this out tomorrow. Okay, thanks so much.